Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast and video blog. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. My radio partner Jim Waszak from Success Enhancement couldn't be here today, but I'm joined by our guest, Kim Montesinos from Crystal Clear Cleaning. So thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
So our topic today is going to be strategic planning. So Kim's a business owner and she owns a cleaning business, and she's going to discuss how she built that business through strategic planning. So Kim, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I started my business in 2004. I was in corporate and worked for College of American Pathologists for numerous years and became a mom. And it got a little
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, they're now 17 and 21.
It's a very belated congratulations. Congratulations on getting them to adulthood.
Yes, thank you for that. So I decided, I kind of always wanted a business, but the business kind of came at me from a friend who was trying to sell it because she encompassed something that she was more passionate about. So she offered the cleaning business. I didn't know anything about cleaning. So she sold it to me on the fact that I could have more freedom. And I bought it. She was a great salesperson, and it took me a couple of years. I had to actually clean and get down on my knees and learn the business inside and out.
How did you learn the business? Getting a prepackaged business seems like a scary prospect to me.
It was because there was no training with it. So she I paid for some leads, so to speak, and she said, here you go, I'm out of here, I'm going to California and start another business. And all I had to go on was the fact that I had extensive customer service background, and I had a cleaning lady prior to that work for me. But what helped me the most was being in corporate and being in a detailed-oriented situation where I was in charge of 7 regions when I worked for the college. And so I figured, let me bring that detail to my business. So in the beginning, it started out with training the staff to be more detailed-oriented with cleaning, which some people might think, what do you mean by that? And not just a general come in, rush, let's do the general dusting, the stuff that we normally do ourselves. Let's go above and beyond by doing that detailed work like window seals and vents and light switches and door panels and baseboards and pulling things out and going into corners, the places where dirt can really hide. So
how did you go about that culture change? Because that's we talk about change management a lot on this show, and that's a hard thing to do. So I'm sure if they were used to the old ownership and then you came in and changed things up, that must have been a difficult thing.
It was at first, but I think they respected me for the fact that I wasn't the owner that walked in and didn't do the work. So they actually saw me do the work and learn on a trial and error process myself. But I started, looking into other cleaning companies, and, I had market research background when I worked for the Marriott. I learned a lot about customer service and market research when I worked for them in sales.
Oh, okay.
So I just kind of put myself out there and called some companies and just said, hey, I'm new in this business. A lot of people were very reluctant. They don't want to share. So I just went online. Google is great. I didn't have that when I was young, we didn't have Google. So Googled some processes as far as training. But again, it went just back to basics. Them seeing me work, seeing that it worked, the reaction of the clients were very happy. We have a great retention rate. We have an 80% retention rate when we get a client. So I think that's pretty good from starting in 2004 until now. I've either lost clients, unfortunately, to death or moving away. I probably have 2% that I lost that weren't happy. Something happened where they're like, we don't want your service. And most often that was a miscommunication, and they just, were like, no, I don't want to hear it. And so, we respect that and move on. Of course, that's painful because no business owner wants to lose business, but it's part of the, I've matured in that's part of the program. You can't please everybody.
Sure.
Right? And so
it's a hard thing to wrap your head around.
It's really hard. I think that was the hardest for me because I was definitely a people-pleasing type personality, and this business helped me grow to understand that it's not personal, that sometimes people might not even do business because they don't really like you, or they don't like your tone or whatever, which, knock on wood, I haven't had that problem with relationships. So again, it's been successful with building relationships with clients, having open communication. explaining processes to them. So when I walk in, I walk around and I explain what we're going to do. And I give them different packages and plans according to their budget and their needs.
Sure.
So it's not just, we clean. I educate them on different products because we offer non-toxic and general products. So I actually try to sway them more to the non-toxic for more healthy reasons because consumers are more about health these days. And so it's not just
like
about
the non-toxic products or the toxic products.
Right. I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, and I bring it to them like that so they kind of think, because it's like that good and bad, because people are just kind of like, I really don't care, because you don't read labels on cleaning products.
Sure.
But as they get more aware, they're more grateful in the end to say, oh, Kim, thanks. I'm glad I wasn't aware how bad certain products can be for the home or for asthma, for my children, for the pets. So I take pride in that.
Something that struck me was that you were able to Google some training processes. What did you find? Because I'll beat my head against the wall trying to create a process from scratch, and I didn't even think about the fact that there might be something to find on Google. For what sort of, when you say you found a training process, what sort of stuff did you find?
Well, there is a couple out there. They developed an organization called Cleaning for a Reason, and it actually is geared, obviously, toward cleaning companies, and they give you great tips. I also hired a business coach to help me with certain numeric strategic plans, because that's where I was lacking. And so she helped me come up to par with that and having more value of what I'm offering and not being afraid to say this is what the price is.
Sure.
But with Cleaning for a Reason, they helped me as far as building processes to implement to the people that work for me. And the training, so to speak. So just knowing who to look for, what kind of qualities to look for in a person that's going to be a great cleaning technician, opposed to just hiring somebody when you're at that moment where you're desperate, because
Sure.
that can happen. We get, sometimes the flow of business is very slow, and then all of a sudden we'll get a ton of calls, which usually happens in this season, from spring until after Christmas, and then it slows down. So if you're not equipped with your, either with contractors or employees, you can just hire people off the cuff because you want to, please that customer. So I learned a lot of planning and what to look for in interviewing.
Okay.
What kind of qualities it takes to be a good cleaning person,
So tell me about the strategic planning process that you go through, because strategic planning can mean a lot of things, and everyone's got a little bit of a different process. So what does strategic planning mean to you, and what's your process for that?
For the numeric process, it's basically working hand in hand with my bookkeeper and kind of knowing how many houses are we at a competitive rate with other cleaning companies? What are we offering? How much time is in a home? How many people are in a home? Should it be just 2 cleaners? Should it be 1 cleaner? I personally don't like to send one person to clean just because of efficiency and what it does to the body. It's just easier when 2 people are working as a team, and then there's 4 eyes instead of 2.
Sure.
But if it's something that can work, she helps me balance that with a strategic plan for the profit and loss and how that's going to benefit the company. So I work hand in hand more with her in that planning, and then the strategic planning up for us is more of how to strategically go into a house and be time efficient and get the job done 110% at the same time, without it being like overly labor intensive for the workers, and to get those excellent results that we smile and that I claim that we want to see you happy. We want to make your home sparkle. That's my motto for the business. So we go in thinking that every time we want to make that client happy, where they're either going to, if it's a one-time deal, they're either going to go on maybe a Naperville Moms, which has been awesome for me actually, or wherever they were referred from, that they can say, hey, they did an awesome job. We were really happy with them. Either they continue the service, or they need us seasonally, or however they want to do that. But the strategic planning goes in a couple of different avenues. 1 for the finance, and 2 for how to set up teams to go into a home. Or now we're trying to, kind of have a vision of doing that in the commercial end, because we have a rectory and a small office. Okay. But commercial is also another avenue I'd like to break into, which will definitely have to step up a level of planning, because that entails more square footage and, that's a different animal, so to speak, than the residential part of it.
So let's pick that apart a little bit. On the financial end of things, you said one of the first things you talked about with your bookkeeper was making sure your price was set at the right price point. How did you go about figuring out what to set your price point at?
We did that with a formula because we do provide everything, and I am licensed, bonded, and insured. So we took some percentages of what it's paying out for workman's comp, how much of the supplies are going to that, the time, the paying of the work, of the cleaning technician. So we put all of this into a formula, and that results of, okay, if we're going to be working in a home for 28 to 3,200 square feet, they shouldn't be in there more than 2.5 hours. Equaling this amount of money to pay this person for this amount, and this other cleaner for this. Cleaner 1 gets paid this, cleaner 2 gets paid that. Were we going to go with percentage? Were we going to go with hourly? So we had to kind of balance those out, and that took a while because the business is a little tricky in that aspect. So
you basically did like a cost of goods analysis for a service industry, which is something that I've been meaning to do for years and never have gotten around to.
Well, it took a while. I had, like I said, this has taken, I'd say in the last 3 years it's gotten better. And having a business coach actually really helped in connection with this cleaning for a reason, where it's a go-to almost consulting business that when you have a question or you want to put together some ideas to make your own employee handbook. They've got so many resources in there. Any kind of employee sheet that I read, from a time sheet to a vacation request, any kind of thing that I can have an idea of what I can do, and then I build it on my own. But they give you ideas, so it was an awesome resource for me because it was very hard to find someone in this industry to have a team and work with and learn those kind of processes, because it's very different from working with pathologists or working at a hospital like I had previously done. And people in the industry didn't want to share, so they kind of felt like, well, I'm not going to share with you, you're the competition. Well, there's more than enough to go around and for houses. So they were a godsend, and my business coach, Jean Kuhn, was a godsend as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a really good bookkeeper and a really good business coach.
Yeah, and they came in the last couple of years. So these other 7 to 8 years were basically trial and error, doing, having those mathematical skills to balance the books, having a good accountant. But as you grow, you need more than a good accountant. You need a bookkeeper. You need somebody that's going to be there. And I always recommend a bookkeeper who's, if it's a profitable business, that they help you with that. And that's what it took a couple of bookkeepers, because not everybody kind of had that mindset of, the best program would be QuickBooks, or no, QuickBooks isn't good, let's go this route, or that might be too expensive for you, we can do some other kind of process. She was very familiar with different processes, and she's about the end result, what's good for as far as market research, not being too pricey and also not being too below cost, not making any money, because again, we're in it to be profitable but not kill anybody. So she was somebody that I had to interview and look for and go through different people, but finally, thank goodness, I really like her. And
so the most intimidating part of what you told me so far is trying to come up with a formula for, each house is going to require this much in workers' comp, this much. These are actual costs of doing each house. Whose brainchild was that? Was that your bookkeepers or yours or your business coach to kind of put together how to actually build that model?
Through all three. The consultant has kind of a formula. The business coach she had some different twist to it, but kind of equated to the same idea. Not necessarily the same, but in the end, numbers don't lie. So the numbers did come together. It was just they had different processes of how to get there, but with the same figure, so to speak. The bookkeeper is actually that check and balance. Okay, if you want to get here, then you need to do X, Y, and Z to get here, and you're putting too much money in networking. You're not realizing, which was something, when you're going on a networking, it's very essential to growth, but you don't think about every time you go out, if you pay to go to an event, once you get there, you eat. She really opened my eyes to that you have to be selective of where you're going, and sure. You can't say yes to everything, because believe me, for 2 years, I was like, yes, I'll go. And I wasn't making any money, but a big portion of that was going into networking. So, learning how to maybe do a one-on-one with somebody over Skype. which I didn't think about, right? Just to get to know them first. You can Skype, why not? If I live in Franklin Park where I do, and I want to Skype somebody in Plainfield, and we only have an hour, it's not a bad thing. Don't think it's not personal because I want it to be personal. I want to meet you.
Sure.
She said it's okay to, Skype them for the first time and just kind of see if there's something in common that we can kind of help each other with. And then after that, plan a coffee date. And so, just little things like that you don't think of to just tweak where your spending's going. Towels, having 2 different kind of products, making sure that, having that inventory and knowing what's going out. I really wasn't on top of that in the beginning, like just buying when we needed it, but really knowing, okay, I've gone through a case of this. Is it really conducive? Because I spend $35 on a case. Can I find something less costly? So she made me think.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great analysis for any business owner
Yes.
to do. And that's the dream of every business owner, to get past survival to the, hey, we're making a profit, let's see how we can make more and reduce costs, and where's our money going, where's our money coming from, and actually do that strategic high-level planning. That's, sometimes it takes 8 years to get to that point of just figuring out the business itself. So
I think, if I could go back myself, I think it's getting out there and not being afraid in the beginning and getting that help, because that's actually what, sitting down and putting my vision on the out there to others and saying, this is what I want to do, and getting that help, not being afraid to, sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to spend that, think about what that spending is going to do in the long run for you. Okay, if you spend some money on a coach, or if that's not necessarily but it's really great to have a good bookkeeper. It's really great to have a good accountant, a good lawyer. Those are things that you need in business, because we're always going to need, you never know if you need any of those. So there's certain things, just like anything, you have to invest in it, but it's for a long term.
And it's a false economy not to say you want to spend money to get a plan in place.
Right, and that's where I think it took me 8 years, because I was trying to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. And I was doing good, but when I would get hit, if you've got a table of people sitting and helping you when you get hit, it's a lot easier than if you're trying to come at different angles, because you're already thinking, I run the business myself already. So if I call them like board members to go to. Like if I get into a situation, I can go to my attorney and say, I was thinking about this. Well, can I do that? Instead of doing it and trial and error and really, I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. I can talk to him, and then it's easier. Or my accountant, is this going to be favorable for me in the long run as far as profit, or will I lose a lot? And I don't know. Let's try it. But there's someone there making you accountable and helping you as you go along. So,
as you were working with your business coach, did you find yourself solving a problem and then moving on to higher and higher level problems, or did your business coach basically get you to the point where it's autopilot? Let's meet, once every couple of months.
No, it is definitely. You get past one thing, and then there's something else.
Yeah, always something.
There's always something else, right? It's I say go into what I knew that I needed help with the financial end of it, because I was sometimes not charging enough, because people would kind of coerce me to pay me what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I had to learn from the business coach that this is a value, what I'm providing, and that was a big step for me. So then once we got over that, then, there's other techniques or something else that you can be personally, you can always grow. So business coaches are good to keep you accountable for personal growth, because as you grow as a person, your business grows.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. This is a great episode today.
Thank you for having me.
If people want to reach out to you for cleaning services, residential or commercial, I guess, how can they do that?
My cell number is 847-722-9659. Currently, though, I am redoing my website, so I don't have that until probably the end of this month. So calling or texting, or I have a Facebook page, Crystal Clear Cleaning, on Facebook. A lot of people IM me there from business groups, so any one of those is fine.
Do you know what your website's going to be when it's ready? What the URL?
CrystalClearCleaning.com.
Great.
Probably, yeah, but it'll definitely be the crystal clear cleaning.
And these episodes stay syndicated for a while.
Oh,
so.
okay. Okay, yeah.
All right,
We'll make sure it's crystal clear cleaning.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. If you want to reach me, I offer free consultations. We do a lot of business work. We do a lot of other types of law, too. You can call me at 630-324-6666. I don't have Jim's number memorized, but if you need improv for business or business coaching, he does that as well, and that's all over our website at seizeyourbusiness.com, where you can watch videos, listen to audio. We're pushing 90 episodes of this thing, so there's lots of content there to check out. You can also check out my legal podcast, learn-about-law.com. Thanks so much for listening.